Noice.
There it is.
There it is. This is the only reason I got you to do this movie. I didn't care. I don't care about this movie. I just want to hear
Michael McDonald.
Sweet mid-'80s sounds of Michael McDonald.
You mean that sweet, sweet freedom?
That's right. Ooh, look at how I set you up with that. Oh, I just lob it right up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Comedy softball.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
So if you can't tell, Mick and I are going to be talking about Running Scared, 1986 comedy. You say cult classic, or we're just going with classics? I'm just going with classic.
It is a cult classic, not just because, they're small. When we say small, they're relative to other movies, small group that really like this movie, but also cult because look at it has made me grow this sweet, sweet Michael McDonald beard.
Fantastic.
And if it's not a cult, if that is not something that a cult would do, what's up? It's awesome. It doubles Michael McDonald beard, and I'm going to be a mall Santa as a part-time job this coming month. There you go.
Drinking the Kool-Aid with that cult. I love
baby.
it. Yeah.
No, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
This is an awesome movie.
This is for me, it's probably the best like buddy cop movie, buddy anything movie. The chemistry that Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines had in this flick, it's just it was magical to say the least. Their chemistry.
Yep.
And they gelled so well. And granted, they're New York. I mean, their Chicago accents didn't sound too.
Yeah.
Sound too Chicago. It sounded more like New York, Philly. But
well, you got Billy Crystal, who's a Jew, playing an Italian and a Chicago Italian.
Oh my God, yeah, that's right.
So he had a little tough going for him.
Yeah.
But to go back to what you said, now that is a bold statement because I love Lethal Weapon. I love Lethal Weapon 2. Lethal Weapon 3 and 4, different type of movies, I would have to say, than this.
Absolutely.
Where, Lethal, I mean, and who knows, maybe we'll do those years from now, but Lethal Weapon, I mean, especially the first one, a little bit more serious, had a couple comedic parts with Mel Gibson. It got funnier as the series progressed. But if you watch that first one, I mean, he's basically sticking a gun in his mouth ready to kill himself.
He's a psycho. In that first one.
He's registered as a lethal weapon. But this fought more comedy than action. But I would say, and I was going to get into this later, but I would say, like, again, Billy Crystal was coming off of Saturday Night Live, so that at this time, I think this is his first like leading role.
Was it coming out of Saturday Night Live, or was it coming out of the gym?
Ooh, that's right. I had to talk to Chris. I am a happily married man, and I am very confident in my sexuality, so I am not afraid to say, Billy Crystal, thirst trap. My God, Billy Crystal is cut. Look at that body.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Ripped
oh my
shreds.
God.
He was ready. He was ready to rumble, baby.
I wouldn't mess with him if I saw him on the street. Tell you
I
what.
mean, now he's easy pickings. But I mean, back then,
Then, see him in a dark alley, mess you up.
All 5'4" of them.
I could buy. This was the '80s, so of course, if you were a comedian, you had to play a cop. Eddie Murphy, Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
But I will say, with this movie, I buy him. As Chris said, the chemistry of Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines, and pouring out Gregory Hines, awesome. Gone way too soon. But their chemistry for never having worked together. Yeah. I buy it. I buy them as partners. I buy them as cops because it doesn't. You could fall into that trap. I feel like now if you did it with, I can't see like Adam Sandler in the '90s coming out of Saturday Night Live and him having to play a cop. It would just be Adam Sandler, and you wouldn't be able to buy it.
Don't move.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Buy. That was a good Adam Sandler. I buy Billy Crystal as a cop. I buy. Yeah, he's funny. It never goes. They don't tell him like do Fernando. Because again, he was coming out of Saturday Night Live. They don't say like, okay, now for like 5 minutes do Fernando for 5 minutes. Do Fernando's Hideaway.
Yeah. We've got to find.
Do Sammy
what was his
Davis,
name again?
Do Sammy Davis Jr.
What was Bail Organa's name again in this flick? Jimmy Smith. Gonzalez.
He's Gonzalez. My Coke! Give me my Coke!
Give me my Coke! We got to find Gonzalez. Hey, he's a bad guy, but he's a little marvelous.
Also, Jimmy Smith's first it was before LA Law.
Yeah.
Before LA Law.
And that was when and I remember from LA Law and all that stuff. I didn't really watch it, or NYPD Blue. I'm sorry, more NYPD Blue than anything else, as far as the shows go. But when he got cast for Bail Organa in Star Wars, I was like, oh, Gonzalez! And he's got this dirty coke dealer in Star Wars. I love it.
And no offense, like in the one part, and we're skipping ahead, and we'll get back. But when he asked for like Billy Crystal's pants, how would he fit into Billy Crystal's pants?
That's what
Billy Crystal's like 5'2". He's like 5'2". Come on. I mean, I know it was cold in Chicago, and you need to put some pants on, but
luckily they had long johns on. So.
I have many questions about this, and you and I are of a certain vintage, so we were alive in the mid 80s, and we kind of remember because we were just hitting like 10, 11, 12 years old. But so a couple questions: why in the 80s did everybody have Uzis?
Oh, bro. Yeah, Uzis were the...
And why didn't we have any? Because I didn't have an Uzi.
I mean,
but it seems like every cop and drug dealer had an Uzi.
Yeah.
Why?
The name is cool.
It is.
And it shoots a whole bunch of bullets, like at once. But I mean, but then like the 90s and the aughts came along, it was like, no, stopping power. Give me that sawed-off shotgun. Get out of here with all these wasting money with all these Uzi bullets.
Number two, why? Because in this movie, and again, I mean, I know I'm checking out Billy Crystal's chest. Why did every man wear bikini shorts? Every man.
80s,
was that an 80s thing? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't. I was 10, 11 years old, but I wasn't. I was probably still in Luke Skywalker underoos. I mean, I'll admit it. There's orange TIE Fighter underoos, X-Wing underoos. And three, and this is a serious question. Mm-hmm. In the 80s movies, like they didn't film a lot of movies in Philadelphia, but like you see Chicago, New York, why were the lights at night in the buildings always green? And I know it's not funny or anything, but I always noticed that. If you see in the 70s or 80s and it's night, the lights are always green in the office buildings. I don't get it.
I don't know.
So anybody who's watching this on the YouTube channel in the comments,
from Chicago in the 80s.
Well, it was New York too, because I remember Superman the movie, like when he's flying around the first night, like all the lights in the office buildings are green. It's just it's a conundrum. I've wondered about this for years.
Early humans, they didn't know any better. We've perfected everything now. We've got it all figured.
These are the things I worry about and the things I ponder when I'm watching Running Scared for like the 27th time in like 2 months. Because I watched it that many times for this podcast because I am that dedicated to providing entertainment for our watcher.
Oh yeah. I tell you, when I think back to that Key West scene, and I know we're jumping all over the place, but whatever. We want to do what we do.
Who cares?
I think of you talking about those shorts. I remember as a kid, I was like, "Yo, his outfit is so cool. It's so cool, man."
Which one?
Where's the
it was very mid 80s bright and colorful, those outfits.
Oh yeah. Oof. This one right here.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. 80s, baby. 80s.
Now see, you're bringing it up, and I know you're only half kidding. I am not gonna lie. I was a Saturday Night Live guy in the 80s with an 11-year-old kid now. And I am not, I let him watch certain movies and stuff like that. But I was like 10, 11. I grew up with like the Eddie Murphy, Billy Crystal, Saturday Night Live. So I was watching this stuff in like 3rd and 4th grade. And then when movies like this came out, like you talk about Lethal Weapon, like I saw this and saw Billy Crystal, who like I thought was funny and would go into school and be like, I'm going to do his bits from Saturday Night Live and stuff. So when I'm watching Running Scared, I'm like, this is what I want to, I'll grow up. I'll be a cop. I'll be like funny. I'll be like,
That's what it's like, right?
Yeah, this is what it's going to be like. Back in the 80s jokes. I love this movie. It's like, oh, these guys are great. Who cares if they're getting sued for like beating up
Yo, everything. ooh, everything. Yeah. They should. There's so many violations.
Oh,
Like I'm
yeah.
like, yo, you guys, you guys are. Oh, I mean, like doing the whole thing like arresting.
Joey Pants?
Huh?
Joey Pants?
No. Well,
okay.
yeah, there was a lot there that was just like,
Snake?
that's some serious misconduct. It was when Gregory Hines' character, when he was getting
of course,
his girl, his ex girlfriend or whatever,
Yeah,
like away from her husband, like, yo, this is terrible.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw him in jail for a night because I want to hook up. Yeah, that's fine. That's a perfectly
like
that's
first
a perfectly
he arrested
good use.
her.
Yeah.
First he had his the best wingman ever arresting her to get her away. And then, and then did it to her, and then had the guy arrested. Wow.
And just laugh about it. They don't care.
Yeah,
They're like, he's going to go into a holding cell. He'll be fine. It doesn't matter.
It's going to get beat up. It'll be traumatizing for him.
As long as I get my rocks off, it's okay. I mean, you know what, though? They do show, she gets up in that one scene and shows a nice behind. I mean, I kind of don't blame them.
Hey. Whoa. But yeah, this movie is for me it's an absolute classic. When it was announced and they showed it, and like I was already like, of course, I was a big fan of Billy Crystal from Saturday Night Live and everything. Gregory Hines I knew from his dancing and his skits, and I'm a huge History of the World Part 1 fan.
Yes.
So I loved him in that. So I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool. And then you see this, like, I don't know what about it. Like, it just hit me. It was these gritty, joking around cops from, Chicago. And then they go down, to Key West. And, it's like they made Florida and Key West. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much its own country now. But it just looked like a whole other civilization and whatnot. Like, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're watching the sunrise.
And that is actually true. I've been to Key West, and they do sit there and watch the sunset. See, again, as a kid watching it, I'm like, Billy Crystal is pulling blonde, blue-eyed 10s at Key West just because he's a funny guy. Yep. If I can be funny, I'll have no problem. This is gonna be easy. Look at this. And doesn't it? It's funny because watching it again, I was like, I always think that Key West part lasts for like an hour, and it's basically like the length of like the Michael McDonald song, and then they're back in Chicago.
Pretty much. You're like, yeah, let's 80s montage.
Yeah, it's true.
Montage? Yeah. I love that.
But what you said is true. Like, I don't know why this movie has always hit me. It's like it's a comfort movie. It's funny. It's not breaking down any walls. It's not like breaking any new ground, but just Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines chemistry, the humor between them. It just carries carries you through the whole movie, and absolutely. That's it. It's always, and like I said, I like Lethal Weapon. 2 total different movies. This, I can throw this on and just watch it as an easy, fast watch and just enjoy myself. I've seen it a million times, and I just still enjoy it. I still think it's funny, but it's not, like I said, it's not how Saturday Night Live kind of like starring vehicles became for, when they would leave. Because you see, like, I'm not even joking. Like, I think Chevy Chase, when he first left, the first or second role he played like a cop. Billy Crystal, Eddie Murphy. This was like they had to get comedians in the 70s and 80s. Like I don't think Bill Murray ever did it. I can't see him as a cop. But they had to grab. I can't see. I think that's impossible. But they had to make they're funny. I guess it was the 80s too, because it was like with the action genre and everything in the 80s. So they're like, okay, we can throw them in and do this. But like I said, I buy it. You buy them as cops. Like, I buy Billy Crystal as a cop. Yeah. We joke around Billy Crystal action here. They're not asking them to like go Schwarzenegger on people.
Right.
So
right. But
they're detectives, as Dan Hedaya says. You are detectives. Detect.
Yeah. Go and detect. Open a bar. Like this. Yeah. That's what did it for me. And here's one of the reasons why I think the movie and their relationship really hit with me. Like, where we were together. I grew up in the suburbs, so having, when I say interracial relationships, for me, I'm talking like friends, like my friends and whatnot. So like, you know, if you know Scrubs, like, you know, I'm Turk, and like, you know, I had many JDs over my lifetime, many like white best friends. And for me, like a lot of the times there's no stronger bond from coming from two different cultures and whatnot, and just being that close. And I've had that many times, and I saw a lot of my friendships in those two, like, you know, just from growing up and whatnot. Like, you know, just like you and I at Suncoast, you know what I mean? Like it was like that. Like my friend Pat McCready, or with Broaxium, me and my partner Dan. You know, it's just many people. Me and my buddy Chris Dyer with Fighter Side. Like there's so many things, and that just kind of stuck with me, that they were, you know, these two people, this white dude, black dude, and they were unapologetically, you know, there was love there between the two. There's closeness there between those two, and there wasn't anything ever. There was never, and what I love about this, race, I'm pretty sure was never a factor at all.
Dude, I hate you. Because you're taking exactly what I was just gonna say.
Oh, I apologize.
And I will just no, I'm playing. It's great. That was one of the main things I was gonna say. I feel bad for cutting you off, but you're going through like the whole big thing. They never once. There's never anything brought up that like, oh, he's a black guy and you're a white guy. Never once. Doesn't matter. Not once. Not between them. Not between anybody else. And that's how it should be. What you're saying is almost exactly why I like it. The friendship up at how you're saying like with Scrubs and stuff. And I think I mentioned this on our show before the show or whatever. Like I've always liked shows and movies like this with like a partnership, like something like this, something like Scrubs. I'm a big, like MASH is my favorite show of all times. And that was like two people right there. I have always, and like you said, when you and I worked together, saw that relationship. I've had other people who I've worked together with, and this is one of the reasons why you, like we keep saying, the chemistry, they come off as really good friends. And it's just like, I always wanted that. So when I was a kid watching it, I was like, this is what I want. I want to have like a friend like this. If it's like a work partner, like I'm serious. Like I would write, like when I would like try to write screenplays or write stories and stuff, I would always use kind of like, I would have this in the back of my mind as like a template of like the two partners and stuff like that. And sometimes it would be it's a white guy and a black guy, but it doesn't, and how you said too, it shouldn't matter, because I've had it like you just said too with work and stuff like that. And I know like between you and I, that was never anything. It was never like that, and it shouldn't matter. But it's like, you know, and I like that about like for a movie and like especially in like the mid 80s, like to not even use that, to not have anybody bring it up or to use that as like some kind of trope in the movie itself.
Right. Like at all. It's not
groundbreaking, but it's like, it's cool that was, it's just never, it's just like, it don't matter.
Loved it.
You know?
I absolutely love that. And like their friendship was just like, it seemed so genuine. And, and, you know, there wasn't a backstory of like, you know, when they met, you know, who they, you know, they came with a force together, or if they were friends beforehand, anything like that. We didn't even know that, you know, like that's one thing I love about the 80s. Like, explain to me how that computer and weird science made a woman. Explain it to me. Oh no, there's a thunderstorm that happened, and now you know.
You know why? In the 80s, computers could do anything. Computers could do anything.
Yeah, you're right.
But no, you're right.
No,
now
that makes total sense.
Like how you're saying right now, if this movie was made now, because they tried to make a sequel to this, and they gave them scripts, and they just said they weren't good enough. But if this was made now, you know, they would have to, if it was a hit, they want to have to keep it going, and they'd make a prequel to it, and you'd see like, oh, this is how they got onto the force, and this is their first case together, and blah blah blah. It's like, you know, they've been trying to do that with Die Hard, where they're going to have somebody. It's like, first of all, you're never going to have people, if you do Die Hard, if you did this, which, I mean, this isn't like a huge movie, but even with like Terminators and stuff, you can't replace, there's certain people, that's why you'll never have you'll never have somebody else play Indiana Jones. There are certain people you just can't.
Right, Rivers, well, I mean, they could have Rivers it survived.
I'm just saying, like,
amazing.
I'm just saying, like, in a series, like if they want to, you know, the whole like, oh, Chris Pratt will just play Indiana Jones. It's like,
no, let's never do that.
No, let's not do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like now they would have to have a prequel, and it's like, this is how Hughes and Costanzo met each other, and this is their first case, and blah blah blah. It's like they play it where like you could fill in that backstory, because the way they're playing their roles, you're like, okay, yeah, these guys are friends. They have like they've done stuff together. They've been on the job together, you know, and you just buy it, and it's like you just go from there, and that's it. You don't need anything else.
And I know I know you were going to say something about. I know in one of your show notes you wanted to talk about who was going to play this role beforehand.
Yes. Yeah.
And
So
each one you were saying, I was like, I'm so glad none of that happened.
mhm.
These are, good actors, yada, yada, yada. But it was like this team right here was magic. And yeah, it wasn't as big as other flicks or whatever, but that team right there was magic. Where's it? There you go. That team right there was magic, and it was just, we keep saying the chemistry. It was just so natural.
Yep.
It came off natural, and I think they were good friends. Like, at least after the movie, I think
they were. I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff, and you could tell they got along. It's you always you get worried when you start looking into this stuff and going down the Google black hole to see what's going to happen, because you don't want to hear like, oh, and Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal hated each other on set and they just powered through it and they never spoke to each other again. Now he has done interviews after it and has said, like, I mean, obviously because Gregory Hines passed away, he's saying that, like, it really got to him when he passed away. He wished they could have worked again and done some more stuff. And they looked like in the behind the scenes stuff that they were having like a really good time, because again, these, like you said, this was his first big role. He'd done other stuff. This was Billy Crystal's first like leading role, and Gregory Hines, it was only like his second or third movie. Right. So
his first was that the Mikhail Baryshnikov and him.
I think his first was History of the World, and I think he did Cotton Club, and I think he did White Nights with Mikhail Baryshnikov. So I think it's like his third or fourth movie.
Okay, and he knocked it out, man.
But like you said, so yeah, originally they wanted it to be set in New York, and it was going to be two older cops. And I think they were looking at Gene Hackman and Paul Newman, great actors. I could see a movie with them, but it wouldn't be this. And then when I don't think Hackman and it fell through, and then they were like, okay, the director Peter Hyams said, I want to do it in Chicago with two younger cops. So they were looking at John Travolta. So this is 85, 84. So this is John Travolta falling into that pre-Pulp Fiction slide. Right. So they wanted Travolta and Tom Selleck. And I like that too. And I like them. I can't see it. And then, it's again after watching the movie. But it would be a different movie. It'd be a totally different movie. Yeah. And they fought against Billy Crystal because they said they were like, they're not going to buy him as a cop. They made him screen test and stuff like that. But it's funny because they fought against him. But then during the filming, they did say they went to him a couple times and said, like, can you just ad-lib a little bit on this scene and just add something to it. So they were worried about him being too funny and being too Saturday Night Live, but then they kind of leaned on him a little bit to add some stuff into it. So
because I don't see anyone writing like the oh no, mother, can you bring with the pop? Like, you can't. That is all Billy Crystal.
I don't know why, but I always remember that scene. Yeah. And it's not just for the brick that is that's the cell phone, the mobile phone.
Oh man. They had that the Zach Morris special right there.
But I don't know why. That was one of the scenes that imprinted itself on me. I always remembered him doing that. But even that's like a great scene as they're just driving around. It's so breezy funny. It's not they seem like they're both riffing off each other and just having a good time. And again, you're watching it it'd be great. I'd love to be a cop. You get to go mess around. We'll steal a bad guy's car. We'll drive around. We'll screw around with them on the phone. That'll be easy.
There is one scene that whenever I see it and it sticks with me because it is just when I first saw it, it was this gut punch of hilarity, and I think I was probably watching on VHS and I had to pause and I saw it in the theater, but I know that whenever I see it at home or whatever, I had to pause and just laugh and just tears shoot out of my face for a while because I didn't see it coming, because Gregory Hines is battling a child and then this happened. Every time, I'm done. It's so good. It's so good. And I mean, I'm pretty sure wasn't in the script.
No,
just give this guy the finger, or it could have been something on the day.
Which can we tell everybody? When I said to Chris, I was like, all right, I can't remember if I said we definitely doing Running Scared or something like that. That was the message you sent me back. That whole scene though, is he's sitting there and he's kind of like trying to be nice, waving to the kid, and the kid's
she's
coming
like,
out from behind,
Yeah,
and he's just getting more pissed off.
yeah. Amazing.
And
But
Gregory Hines, I don't think if people think about him first off, they would think about him as being like a comedian. But I mean, like you said, he started off in History of the World Part 2, and then he did that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was funny.
Yeah.
Like, he holds his own. It's a different, like, it's a different vibe with each of them.
Yeah.
But he holds his own with Billy Crystal. And Billy Crystal, like I said, Billy Crystal does not go overboard. Like, he's not like mugging in this movie at all.
Absolutely not.
He's being
Absolutely
funny,
not.
but he's not mugging at all.
Nah.
It's not what, and I like Billy. I don't hate Billy Crystal, but I mean, he could have, like I said, he could have been doing Saturday Night Live bits. He could have been doing his own like stand-up bits, and thank goodness they didn't ask him to do that. They kind of played it. The humor comes off naturally.
It was so evenly spread between the two, and it was like, two ships or whatever, that rising tide, yada, that whole thing, and that's what it was. And like I said, man, I love the energy between the two. Like, I'm gonna go through a couple of shots with you that I grabbed. Like, these guys just doing their thing.
There it is.
Like, ripped.
There it is.
Like Billy Crystal giving a He-Man figure. Look at him.
That is Thirst Trap Billy Crystal, baby.
It gets no better than that. That's my device right there.
There are women sliding off their seats right now looking at that picture.
And there's some reason, like, this one sticks with me, and I'll say it every now and again, because it's just like Gregory Hines is insane in this scene. Yes. When he's like lunch. Gregory Hines is lunch. Oh, good God.
Yeah.
Just look at that chemistry.
Oh, dude.
Amazing.
So great. And I'm not even lying to you. How you're saying, like, you watched it and the whole thing with like them and everything. Even like now that it's been like this week especially, it's gotten like super cold around here. Yeah. Like, I hate the cold, but I always, and it's weird, like this movie too, like the way they were like dressed up with like the scarves and the jacket stuff. I just thought that was cool. I was like, I just thought it was like cool outfits. I was like, I like even that, the aesthetic of it, I thought was cool. And there's something about like 80s movies where it's like, 'cause this, especially filmed in like New York, Chicago stuff, they're just dirty. It's just like, it's real because it's just dirty, scuzzy, and that's how it was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even talk with that picture. There's so many like Joe Pantoliano is in this movie. Mm-hmm. Dan Hedaya is in this movie.
Yep.
Uncle Rico, John Grease, I think Grease. I might be saying his name wrong. Is one of the cops. The other guy is the guy from Scarface. The other cop. He's I can't remember his name. He's from Scarface. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was he was Scarface. He's like a top guy.
Yeah.
He's his right hand.
They're the two. Yeah. They're the two up and coming. They're the Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines successor.
Yeah. They'll get their movie next.
Yeah, that's right. But that's what it would have been. They would have had it, the Running Scared cinematic universe if it was today. They would be like the Hobbs and Shaw of the Running Scared cinematic universe.
RSCU. I'm all about it, man. Make it happen.
Hey man, if they made like a Lethal Weapon TV show, I'm surprised they didn't like pull out, like they're looking for content and they were like, we can make a TV show out of Running Scared. We'll just get somebody to play get somebody to play the Billy Crystal part. We'll get somebody to do.
Absolutely can. And
I don't know if I'd want them to do it, but
yeah. I remember you were talking about outfits before, and if there's one outfit besides the red and black that stands out to me, it's this one.
Yeah. And again, we were watching this when we were like 9, 10, 11 years old. Yeah. Our parents were probably like, it's all right, they can watch it. Billy Crystal and Saturday Night Live's in it.
Man, listen, we
Dude, I always remember Eddie Murphy's his first stand-up special, which which is amazing. I had it on when I joined Columbia House. That was one of the tapes that I got for free. And my dad like taped it. We watched. I was like 10 watching this. But I remember in the beginning, he says like, "Oh, there's kids here. They, their parents thinking I'm going to do Gumby or something." And he was like, "I ain't doing Saturday Night Live stuff." And he said, parents back then were like, "They can watch it. It's with that Billy Crystal guy. It's that Fernando guy. They can watch this movie."
Right. I'm done pandemic. Like, no, that's not. It's not happening this time.
I think for next Halloween we should go out as is Hughes and Costanza, and we should wear those t-shirts. We'll roller skate down South Street.
Oh no! Oh, that's a sight. Oh, that's a sight. What else we got? Good God. Let's see. That's right. They're about to. You got the idea to open their bar.
A bar? I can't do it as well as you do. That's a great line.
See, and this is another instance of how much like I love their relationship. They're going through it and just playing pool, doing their thing, and Billy's trying to convince. I'm sorry, Costanza's trying to convince Hughes to let's do this. Let's get at it. Let's get out of Chicago. We don't like people shooting at us. Let's stop that. But I do like people shooting at us.
And even that little part, like right here, and that shows, and it's like subtle when he like picks up the ball and then puts it in the different spot, and Gregory Hines, he gives him like the look, and then he just like moves over. That's what like friends do when
right.
You're like when busting each other's balls, and it's just like all right, like it's like whatever. But yeah, dude, it's great.
Yeah. And then when he says, "Yeah, let's do it," like, all right.
We'll get
we'll get robbed a lot. Look at that love. That's what I'm talking about. I love this so much.
It's funny because I think you and I are the same way. Like, I'm going to bring up another podcast that I've been on. Like, I was talking about MASH. Like, I've gone on a MASH podcast and talked about it. And the host there always talks about, like, he was young also when he would watch the show. And it was something that he always took from it with, like, two guys who were super good friends. And they all, like, they were close. And they showed, like, their emotions like that. And I always felt that way, too. And, like, a movie like this, I always felt that kind of stuff. Like, and like you said, with like Scrubs and stuff, I always thought that stuff was like cool. Like that is another like big part of this movie. Like they're just two guys. They're guys who are best friends and they love each other, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And that's one thing I think, and I might be wrong, but this might be the first bromance.
You might
like friends just like open with their, somewhat with their emotions and whatnot, but just you can tell that they love each other and they're not afraid to show that these guys, they both love each other. I think that this is probably the first bromance.
And even like with Billy Crystal's ex-wife and Gregory Hines talking to her, and like you could even that like fills in some of the backstory because you could tell like he's close with her and she is like really close with him.
Right.
And they have like everybody in it, they have like an easy chemistry too, and it fills in the blanks right there too. Like you can tell, like, all right, they're going through a divorce, but they've known each other for a long time. He knows the ex-wife. He knows that Billy Crystal can kind of be a dick. So, he's kind of, he's not going to go against his friend, but he's also siding with, he's trying to still be okay with the ex-wife. So it's like, even that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything before this where. Yeah, I mean, you might be right. This might be like one of the first, if not the first, like bromance type of. I'm surprised it was never brought up on like Scrubs. I'm surprised did they ever reference Running Scared at all?
No, never.
Yeah, they never did they?
Never did.
That's surprising.
Never did. That's unfortunate. They really missed the boat on that one for sure. Ah, man, amazing movie.
But yeah. So what was it? So we got Dan Hedaya. How many times did he play like a captain?
Same dude?
I mean, basically, there's probably like a Dan Hedaya, 6 degrees of Dan Hedaya from the 80s where he's playing like a cop captain. I mean,
of course.
I do like that's one of the things when they come back from Key West, and because beforehand they had like the Cub stuff or whatever, and they come back, he's got like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat on.
Yeah, yeah.
Quit, leave, depart, vamoose,
retire.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Retire. With the and we didn't even talk about like the car chase, which you know what?
On the train tracks
on the L, for the 80s.
Yeah,
I mean, which the car chase by then was starting to become like a trope. But I mean, if you're gonna do it and you're in Chicago, why not do it like on the? And it's funny because they got the nun and the priest in the back seat, but it doesn't go too overboard. But Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines like, shut up, you penguin.
Yeah, but Julio Gonzalez doing his thing, bringing in the drugs from and I like how he sort of outsmarted them, thinking it was going to one plane, but it was really coming in on another, and it's going through this whole missionary thing, and I thought that was fantastic.
Oh, even when they break the thing which there is another question from the 80s, like everybody always was able to, cops are always able to like put the put drugs on their hand and smell it, or like
80s.
80s. They got this drugs, but I love that when they figured it out and they both look and they go, Captain. When they know they're right at the end.
I just love it. Like, oh man, I know we keep talking about this chemistry and how these guys. I can't emphasize it enough. It's so fantastic.
It's the best part of the movie. The best part of the movie. I'm trying to think. So of course they had to have like the over the top ending, where like does he really have to like climb up the side of the building on the window washer rig?
Right.
And all of Julio's henchmen who apparently went to stormtrooper school.
No one hit anything.
Nobody can hit anything.
Gregory Hines can.
But great.
While he's on the scaffolding thing, just got them all.
Didn't he jump off and go, "That's right.
That's right." Oh man, it's one of my favorite lines. It's one of my favorite lines, man.
I know we're again jumping around because it ends so like abruptly, because they're doing it like it's all that, and then it's just like, okay, yeah, we're done. Yeah, you guys want to buy a bar? That must have been hell, man. After they bought that, they got to go back there and then sell the bar.
Well, that's the sequel. They went back.
See, that would have been the sequel. They should have became cops. That's right. And these aren't like Stallone or Schwarzenegger one-liners, but like this is the stuff like you pick, like you pick out, like that. Yes, like I knew exactly what you were talking about. So what else? We got Joey Pants.
Yeah.
In probably, I don't know if it was one of his first roles, but that dude's like never. He looks the same for like the past 30 years.
Yeah.
So you got Joey Pants as Snake, which he makes the most out of a small role. I thought he was good. See, I always forget. Spoiler. I always forget that he like dies that kind of early in the movie. That he gets like killed that early in the movie. I kind of always think that he's around longer.
They were hardcore, man. They were hardcore with just knocking him off.
But yeah, I don't. It's just like there's like you said, there is just stuff like this movie. When I saw it, I didn't see it in the theaters. I probably saw it again like on Prism when I was like 11 or 12 years old. So probably like in 86 or 87. But it's just like there was something that just hit me with it, where just the way it looks. And just the main thing was just like their relationship. Like they made it look fun, And as a stupid like 10 or 11-year-old, I was like, that just looks like fun.
Is this like being a cop?
Yeah, I just want to go become a cop. Yeah. You get to wear like sports jerseys and stuff, and go shoot bad guys and like do car chases on the L. Man, that'd be fine. Yeah. Joke around. That'd be great. Go if you like some girl, you can go arrest their boyfriend.
Yeah, you just take her out for the night. That's how you wooed the ladies back then.
That's right.
Apparently, that's how it worked. I wouldn't. Yeah.
And you can tell they're friends too, because Gregory Hines doesn't even mind when Billy Crystal comes walking in the next morning as he's still in bed with the woman he was with the night before. And at least Billy Crystal brought donuts, and even that when I was gonna say. We have to tell people we do not like plan these things beforehand, so it's just like we're just on the same wavelength with the stuff. Now Gregory Hines does continue the 80s trope of he's a cop, probably pulling in like what 30,000-40,000 a year, but he's got like this sweet like studio apartment where he can actually has like his own motorcycle, his own bat cave where like the motorcycle can come flying out of the side.
He had his motorcycle right next to the bed. Like, this is where my motorcycle's got like sex lights on it. This is how I do it. Let's go.
I think that scene hit me also as I was a kid.
Hey, wait a minute.
Well, in all honesty, Gregory Hines
so quickly back then.
Gregory Hines did talk about it. He said that one of the things he liked about the movie was he said it. He was like, you see in movies, especially at that time, he said, if you were a black guy, you didn't get to have that kind of like relationship where they showed him as the guy. Like it was always like the white guy. The white lead would be the one who would get the girl, and he was like, he thought it was cool that he would get to do that, and he would get, they just showed it that he could be cool like that.
They both got the girl, really,
dude. I mean, you saw Billy Crystal.
The dentist.
You saw Billy Crystal. He was cut.
Yeah.
Aren't you gonna be here fighting the war against black? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
I can't At least Billy Crystal's apartment looked like he actually had like a cop apartment. Yeah. A divorce. What's he say when he gets the money from his aunt? He's like, I'm gonna go buy a. It says it was something like so 80s. He's like, I'm gonna buy like a stereo system with the big.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna buy a stereo system with the speaker so big, I'll have to move out.
Now
and this shot right here, like another example, like textbook example of their closeness.
Yeah, man.
He just barges right in, like, yo, they got my wife. Let's go. He's like, let's rumble. Ma'am, you stay here. Your husband will still be in jail for like another few hours.
But you know what? She felt the bromance because she just was like,
She's like,
I know they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys alone. Now we cannot talk about this movie without talking about the music video for Sweet Freedom by Michael McDonald. I couldn't. I don't know how Michael McDonald could live in real life with the sweet beard, because I couldn't do it for more than 20 minutes. I had to take the.
He's a Wookiee. He's a human Wookiee, sir. He knows what that's just, it's all. That's his thing.
That music video, legendary, and so 80s. Just a total like 80s time capsule.
Absolutely.
Because that was a good time. That was the good times, man. When you had a movie, so you had to have a video, and the video was most likely going to have one or more of the stars of the movie in the video.
Mm-hmm.
The template set by Ghostbusters with like them and like 27 other Saturday Night Live SCTV people.
Right.
And the video had to have a story, which in this case was Michael McDonald buys a bar and invites Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines to come down to the bar with the dancing dominatrix in her leather cop outfit.
Yeah.
And Michael McDonald proves he is the whitest guy with the deepest baritone voice ever.
Yeah. You look like a lumberjack, sir.
But that song is an awesome song. Yeah. Great song.
Yeah. That video, the video is what got me, and it did its job. It got me hyped to see this movie. Like, I want to see this movie. I want to see these guys, hanging out in Key West and just doing the thing and having the time of their lives, dancing and hanging out with Michael McDonald, and maybe have some cop stuff, sprinkled in somewhere around their good times. It was the other way around. But because it's 80s, so we're used to montages, and that Key West thing was pretty much a montage to show them what life could be if they gave this up. But then I do like how they transition.
I like how they're in the bar, and they're talking about stuff, and then they walk out, and it's like, all right, let's go. And they walk out, and they're like, what the hell are we doing in Key West? But like, come on, 5 minutes in, Billy Crystal's already got himself and Billy Crystal's small, so he's already got himself like a 6-foot blonde that he's charmed.
Yeah,
like mid-80s Billy Crystal, man. It must have been that beard. I don't know, man. Billy Crystal.
It was the beard. It was the abs. There was a thing.
I mean, Gregory Hines. I don't blame the ladies. Gregory Hines is a smooth character. So it's Billy Crystal. Come on.
That's the main character, Mirage.
I am not lying to you. That is what like 4th and 5th grade Mick was thinking. Like, Billy Crystal's funny. All I gotta do is keep on being funny. I will have it made. I'm gonna have blonde chicks in Key West. Thinking when he pulls the, I come from a planet far, far away. Even that, I was like, all right. He's like quoting Superman. Like, look at this.
Oh man.
This whole adult thing is going to be easy.
80s. Oh, man. Oh, the propaganda lied to us. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yeah, I was going to. That was one of my notes. I was going to say something about the transition from Chicago to the bar in Key West, and I was like, oh yeah. Yeah. They did a lot of the transitions. They did great with, like when they're rolling out of the bank on the roller skates.
Yeah,
and like that seamless transition to Chicago, and they're rolling the roller skates in the snow. Yeah.
Yes. And then, you know what? It's funny because we're talking about like the transitions and stuff. This movie, Peter Hyams, like looking into it, like he made a lot of like different. He did like 2010, the sequel to 2001: Space Odyssey. He did this. He did a couple Van Damme movies after this. Like he was a definition. He was a definition of like a workman like director. Like he, he's not like an auteur, but if you needed a movie
to
look good and you're gonna make it and you're not gonna go over budget, he's the guy you get. But like this movie has so many different. Yeah, it's a comedy, it's an action movie, it's a cop movie. It's got the midsection with Key West. It's also got like the part where they go get the car souped up, and it all of a sudden like that part comes out of nowhere, where he's like, oh yeah, like he's because that's something with like the 80s too. The cops always had to have like a car that had like not special powers, but like was all of a sudden like bulletproof, and that's great too when they're doing the chase, and he sees him and he's like, he's like waving to him. Or that he's like when Gregory Hines is like, I don't like it. There's something about it, and they hit the other two cops' car, and he's like, now it's like a taxi.
To be on that kind of wavelength with someone.
But and it's got like the end part with that has to have like the full on action, like, but it doesn't like, it never feels like it goes off the rails. Mm-hmm. Like we were talking about, even like speaking of rails, like they do like the big chase scene too, but it all like he fits it all together, and it doesn't nothing feels like out of place.
Right?
What's he say? Don't touch the third rail.
Yeah. Hey, you don't want that one. Yeah.
What's he say? He's like, oh, now you're going to talk about my driving? He's like, well, all I get to do is parallel park.
Once again, the chemistry.
Oh man,
is undeniable.
With the when they shoot it, that's the thing about, like, I mean, it's still probably now too, but like 80s cops movies where it's just like the smallest thing, you get mugged, so you're allowed to like unload your full clip of guns, flip over a car, and they lived, and that's okay. And then they start joking where he's like, I can't believe you missed all 3 shots.
Those are my shots. No, your shots over there.
A height joke now. Like that, all that little stuff when they're in the taxi in the garbage truck, when he's like, and you still owe me $10. Well, you want it now? Yeah, I want it now. Or when he gets shot and he's like, if I don't make it, I'll just go to Key West without me. All right, I'll go. You would go without me.
You son of a bitch.
Oh God, I love those two. Yeah. Now I wish they would have made a sequel. Now supposedly the one I heard that they were talking about it like after when Harry Met Sally, when he got bigger, so they were like, oh, maybe we'll make a sequel and they'll call it like still running or running all over the world or something, where they'd go somewhere else. But it's like
turn the police academy at that point.
Yeah, seriously. They should have just let them go. They should have let them open the bar.
Patrol. Yeah.
They should have let them. Oh man. Now I'm having memories of that. They should have let them open the bar in Key West, and they should have let them be like private detectives or something.
Yeah.
We're retired.
Hey, they gonna run into Crockett and Tubbs, and they're gonna be like this weird, black, white male couple standoff. It would be like, oh, man, oh.
Can you imagine like the energy between like what the heck was Tubbs' real name? Why can't I remember?
Little Michael Thomas? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he created the term EGOT because he said he was going to be the first person to win all of them. So he created EGOT.
That's him. Wow. Way to go, Tubbs.
Because again, speaking of like the 80s, he had to have like a music career. Don Johnson had to have a music career with videos that told stories. Oh man, I love how we just like anything can get us off on tangents on all
Yeah,
these things.
so it goes, man.
But yeah, I can't. Gregory, you know what? I would take Hughes and Costanza over Crockett and Tubbs
Absolutely, every time.
any day of the week. I'd take him. You know what? It's gonna be blasphemy. I'll take him over.
Riggs and Murtaugh?
Riggs and Murtaugh. And I love
so would I.
Lethal Weapon. I love Lethal Weapon, but I'd more want to hang out with Hughes and Costanza than I would Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Because I
would
might
get
have to
on
go
my
to the
nerves after a
bathroom in Murtaugh's house and it'd be rigged to like blow or something.
while. Don't drop a deuce. Whatever you do not drop a deuce at
But
the
yeah,
Murtaugh
like that,
household.
this is like it's like a perfect like hangout movie
Yes,
because you want to like hang out with these people.
absolutely.
Like you had that's what I mean. Like you have fun watching them and watching the movie, so you have fun hanging out with them.
Yeah.
But even again, like they show when they get called into like the captain's office again, like Billy Crystal's like they're talking to some chick in the police precinct. It's like Billy Crystal couldn't like get the girls off of him in like 1986.
That's how it goes, man. Sex symbol, Billy Crystal. Yes, that one for the Princess Bride. What are you talking about? Of course, that's who I mean. Yeah. Oh boy, so good, so good. So,
But it's
okay, good.
no. I was gonna say I'm just surprised like because the first two movies we did they were ones that we watched at the shop when we worked together. But now this one does kind of have a connection because this was in the summer. Like because I just do this. I just watched it again because I was like, I want to watch Running Scared. So I saw it was on HBO Max. I'm like, I'm watching Running Scared. And like that night, I just put it on like Twitter. I was like, I need to do like a podcast about Running Scared. And like you were the first one was like, all right, we need to do like a podcast now.
It's time to shit a girl.
And I had other people though saying like, oh, I love that. Like they were just, it was me and like some other guy I know just going back and forth on like a thread, just doing like lines from the movie. So it's like it's one of those movies like a lot of normies. You're probably gonna talk to them. They're like, it might be in the back of their head, but I don't think they would exactly know. But people,
or they may think of that 2006 movie.
Yeah, the Paul Walker, right?
Walker. Yeah, that movie made me mad. I didn't even see it. I was like, how dare you?
How dare you take
that
Running
sacred
Scared
title?
Gregory Hines is going to come down from heaven in his tap shoes and
tap all over your
step
face.
on your face.
Take that. Do something else. What are you gonna do? Open a bar?
I love it. That's the best. He's great, and then like I said, like Billy Crystal doing him is even better. Which the director asked him, or I'm sorry, Billy Crystal said to the director he wanted to do an impression of Dan Hedaya, so he was like, "Can we like add in a scene somewhere where I'm like doing an impression of Dan Hedaya?" Because so they put that scene in there just so he could he can improvise and do his voice, which is hilarious.
Yeah. So here, let me show you this shot real quick. That just another thing. All right, real quick. You hear a little bit of the music in the background, but let me tell you something about like this song, this music video, like what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can be in a bad mood.
Nope.
Put this music video on, and by the end, not be smiling. There's no way. It's so feel good. It is so feel good. I love that song. I love the feel, all that kind of stuff. But here's another example of the unmitigated bromance of these two. That's just amazing. Here's a Purple Rain shot.
Yeah,
of him, ejecting out of his apartment. But
out of the Hughes cave.
Yeah.
Tell me they didn't have like bat pole type things with like Hughes and Costanza on it next to it, and they just slide in like Billy Crystal puts like the Chicago Blackhawks like shirt goes on them and like the jeans and everything.
Oh man, that would have been fantastic. So we got that, but here's another it's another like heartfelt moment, which is just like it says more than what's out there. It's which feels like any other bus. Like, yeah, just don't be careful.
Yeah.
You say, hey, you neither.
You neither. Yep.
Look
at that look.
Yeah. So good. So good.
dude. Like, yeah, we're laughing and like bringing up, but like I'm so glad you brought that up because it's like that. Like I,
and then he looks back, and I'm sorry, he looks back.
Yeah,
the love, man.
Yeah, but watching it for the podcast, like I'm trying to do it with that podcast mind because I'm like, what am I going to talk about? But like, it was one of the things I was thinking of. Why do I like this movie so much? And it is that like their like obvious love for each other, and I've had like that relationship with people I've worked with and stuff like that. And like I said, that's something that has always attracted me and drawn me to certain characters and stuff. I've always liked that partnership type of thing in movies and TV shows. Like you said, Scrubs, like I was talking about, like MASH. I've always liked that with that, like two, and I'm two guys. I mean, I don't care if it's a girl and a guy too, but it's for me, it's just always been two guys who are just like, they might not be brothers, but they're brothers.
Right. Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Another example of that bromance.
Han and Chewie.
Han and Chewie. Han and Chewie.
Chewie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe that was the original bromance. I mean, that was 77. I
would say.
I know.
I would say like
it all comes back to Star Wars.
With the Solo movie.
Yes.
That was the beginning of a bromance. They didn't really do it. Like it was a guy and his dog for the original trilogy. Right. You know, he's like, whatever, fix a plane, or fix a ship, fly it, shut up, Chewie.
And that was Harrison Ford. Fix the hydro
spanner
thing.
Yeah,
you can write this. You could write this shit, George, but you can't say it.
Listen, I've had so much fun on this one, and this is something we can talk about forever.
You don't know how hard it has been to hold back from just because we have the music in the background, so just the whole time I just wanted to be. You don't know how many times I've listened to this song over like the past week and a half.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack. It is a good 80s soundtrack, by the way. Yes. It's a very, very good. It's like very Beverly Hills Cop. Like I said, like I'm very surprised that it wasn't Harold Faltermeyer who did the I'm surprised it wasn't him who did the music for this, because it's got that like synthesizer type of Beverly Hills Cop Fletch kind of sound going for it. And which, it's big, like 85, 86 type of vibes right there with that, too.
Oh, yeah.
They don't make them like they used to. I'll tell you that much.
No, they don't, sir. No, they do not.
They really don't. Like, these movies, that's why, like, we're talking about this still.
Yeah.
Like, these movies were, like... I mean, this was, like, it made, like, 38 million, which I think now would be 92 million. I mean, for, like, a movie like this, which was, like, again, Billy Crystal wasn't Billy Crystal then. Gregory Hines wasn't a big draw. That's pretty good for, And I think it opened in like 5th place its opening weekend, but it like stayed. It was in like the top 5 for like a month and a half. Yeah. Which again, back then, that's pretty good. So it's got its audience. It's definitely got its audience. And like I said, I was just a wee lad at home in the basement watching on Prism, but when Run Scared was on, I was like, yes, can't wait to become a cop and have all these women around because I'm like funny. This is going to be, and wearing Hawaiian shirts. This is going to be awesome.
You're like, hey, what happened?
I already had like the jams that they were wearing. Remember jams back in the 80s? Ooh,
yeah, I had a couple pair.
I mean, we're joking around, but I probably had those bright pink jams back then. Ocean
Pacific. All that stuff, man.
They weren't as tight as Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines' were, but
maybe, and we just didn't think they were tight. It was just that was the
That's
thing.
Very true.
That is very true. The thing. Well, Mick, it has been fantastic talking to you one more time. What do you want to do for the next movie for December?
Well, it's going to be December. It's the holiday season. It's a time of peace on earth. Goodwill toward men and women, as the line goes. I think we're going to have to go with the Christmas classic, Batman Returns.
You thought we were going to say Die Hard, didn't you? No.
Die Hard does not have Christopher Walken in it as a super villain. Not. He's a villain in a superhero movie. I don't know if he's a super villain, but he's
a fantastic villain. Santa Claus. Afraid not. I'm gonna save it.
I know. Yeah, let's not give it away.
Creepy ass Danny DeVito killing it.
Oh goodness, No more Happy Meals for the kids. Kids running out of McDonald's. Kids running out of McDonald's crying, wanting to get 6-piece nuggets and a Batman toy.
You know what's in there? Yeah, raw fish. Just a fish.
And maybe
eat it the way penguin did. Go.
And maybe a penguin with a rocket launcher on its back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Get it. All
It's
right.
going to be a festive holiday with Batman Returns.
Absolutely.
On the next one.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with these two video store employees, and we will see you on the next one.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Later.